But another company making news on the funding front is cloud security platform Verkada, which says its valuation now stands at nearly $6 billion after its latest funding round. Ashley Masternardi spoke with the company's CFO more about it, and let's take a look at that interview.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're announcing that Alphabet's independent sort of investment growth arm called Capital G is leading an investment round in us. They're investing money, raising our valuation almost $1.3 billion from the round we announced earlier this year. I think it sort of is a testament to how AI is changing the physical world. We all use various things that, can search things or chatbots or other stuff, but in the physical world, AI is really helping protect people, identify situations, deter crime, drive investigations. I think their sort of recognition of what we're doing in that space is obviously very validating, and we continue to invest more.
And speaking of AI changing things in the physical world, as you mentioned, can you talk about the AI use cases for your products? What is it actually doing?
There are many ways in which AI can help make physical security better. I'll just list three of them. So one of them is, how do we deter crime faster, right? So what does the deterrence look like? That looks like, our ability to identify somebody in a scene and then identify attributes of what's going on in that scene. For example, they're loitering or they jumped over a fence. And then find images about these people and then actually generate voice responses that say, "Hey, you in the black hoodie, you're trespassing on the property. We're going to notify the police if you don't show up." It means things like helping identify and respond faster. So in that situation, really being able to say, "Hey, what is a threatening activity? What maybe is not?" For example, somebody loitering in an ATM vestibule or outside of a retail store for 5 or 10 minutes, right? And then be able to create alerts for individuals who might want to investigate that item, right? And then lastly, it's how we actually investigate incidents that happen. We live in a world that is unfortunately not getting any safer, and so when incidents happen, it's oftentimes takes law enforcement or other professionals at the businesses days or weeks to find the individual, track down the video, sort of compile that all together. AI makes it really, really easy to scan across, hundreds of devices, tens of hours of footage, find what happened, find that individual, and then investigate that. And all of that is sort of made possible because Verkada has a sort of cloud first, AI first technology stack that really drives physical security.
And how effective has this technology been? What has the customer feedback been?
Well, I think it's been pretty outstanding. It's, partially driven by the fact that we have so many customers now, over 30,000, almost 100 countries globally, almost 100 of the Fortune 500 are using this. I think we have examples of where folks are really saying, "Hey, you're now able to protect sort of places that were very hard to protect before." For example, Terawatt is a company that does so outdoor charging and for folks like Waymo and others, right? What they're looking at this is saying it's very hard to secure an outdoor space. Your home or a business, you can arm the doors, right? Type in a PIN code, and then there's like an alarm system that works. But what do you do in a large fenced-in area? How do you protect that, right? Well, the best way to protect that is using AI, video, and other sort of systems that are able to detect what's going on there, and then say, okay, somebody should take action, whether that's watching law enforcement or if it's just, hey, let's notify the owner of this store that there's somebody on the property, and then they can decide whether they want to sort of that's a customer or somebody that shouldn't be there.
All right, and there have been a number of high-profile crimes recently. How do the headlines of the day underscore the need for security?
Well, I think it's sort of twofold. One is, as I mentioned earlier, I oftentimes ask people, do you think the world is getting sort of safer or less safe? And unfortunately, I think most people answer that in the same way, which is, less safe. And so the need for security is only going to increase in the world. And whether that's retail crime, whether that's school safety, whether that's, museums in this case, the need to sort of protect people and places is an ever increasing kind of market trend. I think the second thing is what we saw in the Louvre incident is sort of unfortunately emblematic of what we've seen in other security incidents where there were insufficient cameras or the cameras were offline or they were sort of pointed in the wrong way, and people didn't really know that, right? And so, we live in a world now where, you can check in on your dog or cat at home, but most businesses can't even check in on the, multi-million dollar paintings that are sitting in that hallway. They don't have devices that can stream to the internet or stream to their phones. And so, we're making that connected technology that allows businesses, municipalities, cities to really be able to make their spaces safer and smarter. And that demand is only going to continue.
All right, thanks again to Verkada CFO and Ashley Masternardi for that interview.